What if the next great geopolitical flashpoint in the Middle East, on the South China Sea, but literally freezing over at the top of the world? Oh, welcome to the new Cold War, and it's happening right now in one of the most remote, hostile, and strategically crucial regions on the planet, the Arctic. Behind me sits the massive $7 billion Alaska military upgrade, America's most ambitious Arctic transformation since the original Cold War buildup. And today, we're diving deep into why the Pentagon is pouring billions into freezing tundra, what they're building, and why this might determine the future of global power. The Arctic has always been a region of extremes, but in recent years it's become something else entirely, the theater of intense strategic competition. And here's the scary part: most people have no idea this is happening. The Arctic Circle spans roughly 5.5 million square miles, encompassing parts of the United States, Canada, Russia, Norway, Denmark, Finland, Sweden, and Iceland. But what makes this region so valuable isn't just the vastness, it's what's beneath the ice and what the ice itself is revealing. Climate change has been reshaping the Arctic at an alarming rate. Since 1979, Arctic sea ice has declined by roughly 13% per decade, and scientists predict we could see ice-free summers by the 2030s. That might sound like an environmental tragedy, and it is, but it's also opening up possibilities that were previously unimaginable. New shipping routes, access to untapped oil and gas reserves, estimated at over 90 billion barrels, and crucially, new avenues for military expansion. Russia's been the most aggressive player in this new Arctic game. President Putin has explicitly called the Arctic a zone of Russian strategic interest, and they've invested heavily to back that up. The Russian Northern Fleet, based in Murmansk, has received new submarines, ice-class warships, and modernized air defense systems. They've reopened abandoned Soviet-era bases along the Northern Sea Route, and they've conducted large-scale military exercises in the region, including Operations Ocean Shield and Arktika. Russia's Arctic military infrastructure now includes over 50 icebreakers, more than the rest of the world combined, with several nuclear-powered vessels designed specifically for year-round operations in heavy ice. But here is where things get really interesting. China, though not an Arctic nation, has declared itself a near-Arctic state and invested heavily in Arctic research and infrastructure. The Chinese icebreaker Shualong, or Snow Dragon, has completed multiple Arctic expeditions, and Chinese companies have invested in port infrastructure in countries like Iceland and Greenland. Many Western analysts see this as a strategic play for influence and eventual access to Arctic resources and shipping routes. So where does America fit into all of this? For decades, Alaska's military presence was a Cold War relic, something we maintained but never really invested in seriously. That strategy worked when Russia was weakened and the Arctic was frozen solid. It doesn't work anymore. And that's exactly why the Pentagon's $7 billion Alaska upgrade is such a big deal. This massive investment is transforming Alaska into the premier Arctic fighting force on the planet. At the center of this upgrade is the construction of new facilities at Eielson Air Force Base near Fairbanks. The Air Force is deploying 2 squadrons of F-35A Lightning II fighters to Eielson, the most advanced stealth aircraft in the world, specifically configured for Arctic operations. These aren't just regular F-35s either, they're being equipped with cold weather survival gear, specialized avionics for navigation in the magnetic chaos near the North Pole, and enhanced networking capabilities to operate in the contested electromagnetic environment of the far north. The upgrade also includes massive improvements to infrastructure across the state. We're talking about new runways capable of handling the largest military aircraft, expanded fuel storage capacity to support sustained operations, hardened shelters for aircraft to protect them from the brutal Alaskan winters, and advanced communication networks that can survive and operate in Arctic conditions. The goal is clear: turn Alaska into a forward staging area from which the United States can project power throughout the Arctic region. But it's not just about the air assets. The Army is modernizing its presence in Alaska as well. The 11th Airborne Division, known as the Arctic Angels, has been reactivated and is receiving new equipment specifically designed for extreme cold weather operations, including cold weather vehicles, advanced cold weather clothing systems, and training to operate in temperatures that can drop below minus 60 degrees Fahrenheit. This isn't your typical military training, it's preparing for a kind of warfare most American forces have never had to fight. And now here's a thought that should concern everyone: what happens if tensions in the Arctic continue to escalate? What if Russia's Arctic posture meets America's new forward deployed capabilities and an incident occurs? The Arctic is largely ungoverned, with overlapping territorial claims and no clear framework for managing military encounters in the ice. The Law of the Sea Treaty provides some guidance, but it hasn't been ratified by the United States, leaving gaps in international law that could become flashpoints. Are we prepared to defend American interests in a region that's becoming increasingly contested, or are we simply reacting to events as they unfold? Looking ahead, the strategic importance of the Arctic will only grow. As ice continues to melt, new opportunities and new conflicts will emerge. The $7 billion Alaska upgrade is a down payment on American relevance in this changing world. But it raises a fundamental question. How much are we willing to invest in a region that most Americans will never see? And does that investment match the threat?
The reality is, the Arctic is no longer a quiet frontier. It's becoming a busy highway for international competition, and America is finally waking up to that reality. The question now is whether we've woken up too late.
Hey, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel for more interesting videos.